Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome the following veterans to our Veterans Day ceremony. Specialist George Mazarov, United States Army. Sergeant Matthew Holstadt, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Elizabeth Shoup, United States Army. Corporal Dominic Sidoti, United States Army. Specialist Joseph Greenwood, United States Army. Specialist Scott Wazorchek, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Robert Pena, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Louis Matta, United States Army. Private First Class Victoria Pavlenko, United States Army. Private First Class Anthony Brioni, United States Army. Private Stephen Folse, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Chad Feilbach, United States Marine Corps. Gunnery Sergeant Brandon Lombardo, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Daryl Roletto, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Brett Torrey, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Chris Lascata, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Joseph Dort, United States Marine Corps. Lance Corporal Clayton Donaldson, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Joseph Dwart, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Chris Lascata, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Maciek Wazowski, United States Marine Corps. Engineerman Third Class Nelson Lee, United States. Lieutenant Commander Gennaro Chenard, United States Coast Guard. Lieutenant Ted Kirk, United States Navy. Second Class Phil Nixon, United States Navy. Third Class Petty Officer Albert Bolton, United States Navy. Master Chief Petty Officer Matt Farlow, United States Navy. Specialist Raymond Masheri, United States Navy. Sergeant Wayne Wagner, United States Navy. Sergeant Andrew Panigan, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Robert Hopkins, United States Army. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance by Madison Trzekiewicz, and please remain standing for the National Anthem by Kaylee Abad.
Honor go! Present! Oh!
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see behind the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honor go! Honor! Oh! Right! Wait! Port side! Oh! Close range! Oh!
Please be seated. I'd like to welcome Mr. Forsythe to the podium.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Warren County Technical School Veterans Program. I'd like to thank our staff and students for participating today and putting on such a fine tribute in honor of our veterans. Specifically, thanks to Mr. Wheatley and his students for planning this great activity. Most importantly, thanks to the veterans behind me, including several of our staff members, whom Mr. Tierney will mention shortly. Veterans, your courage, grit, and patriotism are truly appreciated, and I hope you enjoy today's experience. President Ronald Reagan once said, "We remember those who were called upon to give all a person can give, And we remember those who were prepared to make that sacrifice if it were demanded of them in the line of duty, though it never was. Most of all, we remember the devotion and gallantry with which all of them ennobled their nation as they became champions of a noble cause. Veterans, thank you for being our champions. Thank you for fighting for the freedoms we enjoy today. We appreciate your sacrifice and service. Mr. Tierney?
Good morning, students, faculty, veterans. Today we celebrate an important day, and I'm honored to welcome the men and women who honorably served our country to preserve the freedoms we enjoy. As we gather to remember, honor, and express our gratitude to these brave men and women, I encourage everyone to reflect on the freedoms we enjoy in our great nation and how lucky we are to have these brave individuals who sacrificed and continue to sacrifice for our country. On this Veterans Day, we pay tribute to those who have answered the call to defend our freedom, protect our way of life, and uphold the values of our nation. On behalf of everyone here at Warren Tech, we thank you for your service and the sacrifices you have made to defend our freedom. We appreciate you joining us this morning and sharing your experiences with our students. Students, use this opportunity to enhance and enrich your understanding of our history and what it means to be an American. Reflect on our freedoms and their costs, borne by the brave men and women who defend our country. To our very own veterans here at Warren Tech, Mr. Lance, Mr. Lilly, Mr. Feilbach, and Mr. Greenwood, we thank you. And to our former students who have enlisted, we thank you as well. Your sacrifices, dedication, patriotism, and resolve are remarkable, and we sincerely thank you and all veterans here today. We are free to celebrate with each other today because of the sacrifices of our veterans. Thank you.
I'd now like to welcome Cecilia Paulus to the podium.
Armistice Day, better known as Veterans Day, originally marked the armistice signed between the Allies of World War I and Germany. This went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For this very reason, November 11th, 1918 is regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. Initially, the purpose of November 11th commemorations was to pay tribute to the First World War's military casualties and to the establishment of peace. Nonetheless, the day was set aside as a memorial to veterans and those who lost their lives following World War II. On May 13, 1938, Congress officially made this day a federal holiday. Then, Armistice Day was formally renamed Veterans Day in 1954. November 11th has been observed as a day of honor to all American veterans who have served our great nation ever since. In addition, is it a day to honor all men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
Please direct your attention to the screen for the slideshow.
Said goodbye to his mom as he left South Dakota, fight for the red, white, and blue. He was 19 and green with a new M16, just knowing what he had to do. He was dropped in the jungle where the choppers would rumble with the smell of napalm in the air. Then the sergeant said, look up ahead, like a dark evil cloud, 1,200 came down on the shrapnel he left in his leg. He puts on a gray suit over his airborne tattoo, and ties it on one time a year. And remembers the fallen as he orders the tall one, swallows it down with his tears. On the 8th of November, the angels were crying as they carry his brothers away. With the fire raining down and the hell all around, there were few men left standing that day. Saw the eagle fly through a clear blue sky, 1965, the 8th of November. Saw the eagle fly through a clear blue sky, 1965. On the 8th of November, the angels were crying as he carried his brothers away. With the fire raining down and the hell all around, there were few men left standing that day. On the 8th of November, the angels were crying as they carried his brothers away. With the fire raining down and the hell all around, there were few men left standing that day. Saw the eagle fly through a clear blue sky, 1965, the 8th of November. The 8th of November. 8th of November.
Good morning. I'm Riley Trembler, and I'm a junior in the Law and Public Safety program. And I'd like to welcome everyone to Warren Tech's 13th Annual Veterans Day. I'd like to take a moment to thank the men and women behind me for coming today. I'd also like to thank the students and staff for attending our ceremony. Veterans Day is a day about remembering and honoring the brave men and women who have served in our armed forces. Veterans Day is so much more than just a day. It's a time where we should remember the ones who gave the ultimate sacrifice and those who live us to tell us about their time in the military. This day is the perfect time to look at what it means to be a true patriot and realize that someone's kid, someone's husband or wife, or somebody's family they have said goodbye to for months on end. These men and women are our heroes. Over 40 million people have served in our United States military, and over 1 million have given their lives so we can be free. Our service members have been deployed all over the world. These service members behind me have sacrificed leaving their homes, families, and friends for our safety. After their contract has ended, they will all take a different path in life, but they will never forget where they've been. These are only the few reasons why I am proud and honored to say that today we get to thank all these brave soldiers, airmen, sailors, Marines, and guardsmen for their brave sacrifices. And today I encourage students to listen to the veteran stories and ask them questions about their time in the military. Please welcome Ryan Dulesky to the podium.
Veterans Day Limerick, the best on earth. A Veterans Day tribute. If someone has done military service, they earn the title of veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration. They are special that no one can ignore. They sacrifice the comforts that we enjoy. The list is long of the things that they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They are loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us that they can handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional and no other groups compare. We're grateful for the many things that they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers. We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they are worth. These men and women who served our country, our veterans, the very best on earth.
Please welcome our guest speaker, Specialist George Mariaz from the United States Army.
First, I'd like to thank Warren Tech for inviting me to speak here. I'm not used to doing this kind of thing, so it's a little weird. And the other part is, this is the most elaborate presentation that I've ever been involved in the last 10 years. So thank you for that. And then also for all the veterans here, I'd like to say thank you for your service. And for the Vietnam veterans, welcome home. One of the questions posed to me was, can I get a job in a civilian workplace after the military? And that's a little hard for me to answer, and I'll explain to you why. To get a good job, you need to know something. You need to be you need to have enough knowledge that they will accept you and pay you a good, decent wage. Military, they will teach you the basics in a short period of time, and they do a very good job at it. I learned to work on 2 radars at a control center in 13 months. That's amazing when you think about it. The complexity that you have to absorb in that short period of time. But you need some basic training in whatever field you're going into before you go into that military job, or even the training, because you'll never pass the test if you don't have some basic information. Back in '69, when I joined the military, I'm sure it's quite different than now. You have to talk to one of the recruiters here to find out what exactly the military does today compared to what they did 55 years ago. I can tell you, when I started, my job was electronics. I enjoyed the electronics. I started in high school to teach myself about fixing radios and televisions. Back in those days, televisions were tubes. Much easier to work on than they are today. Today they're just throwaways. But I learned enough, or I taught myself enough, to where when I took the military test to make sure that I could even be in that kind of a job, if I didn't do that, I would have never gotten into that. So it's important that you learn early on, whatever field you're going after, is that you learn as much as you can before you even try to apply for anything else, because you're just not going to make it. There's too many people out there that are learning a lot. They have a lot of competition. I can tell you a little bit about how I ended up as a Hawk missile radar mechanic. Um, when I turned 18, I got this letter from the government saying that I need to apply for a selective service, which I did. But then I got to thinking, I'm going to have to go into the military sooner or later, so I might as well do it now. And I looked around to see which services that would be more better for me than for them in the military, but that's not really what I wanted to do. There was, in our class, there was 57 of us that went into training, 27 of us graduated. Every week you get a test, and if you don't pass, you're out. And in the military, they put you where they want you. So if you don't pass, you're not going to be where you want to be. You're going to be where they want you. And you may not like that. Also, the military could be a scary place for some people. When you go in, you're going to be doing things that you've probably never done before. I don't know if you folks have been going to summer camps or things like that where you're away from home for long periods of time on your own. For me, the military was the first time that I've ever done that. So you're kind of left on your own to do what other people were helping you do before. Some people handle it well, others not so much. I'm not embarrassed to say the first night there was tears on my pillow because I'm starting to realize what I got myself into. One morning we found one person couldn't deal with it at all, and he was found deceased in the bathroom in a bed check one night. Anyway, I found basic training to be very easy for somebody that I'm not that physical, but I just thought it would be more intense. Later on, I found out that you really get to work on an advanced basic training. For those that go into the infantry, that's where you get the workouts. That's where you get the heavy-duty physical training. My advanced training was with missiles. Depending on the field that you're going for, that could be an easy thing to go through. One thing I found about the military, it's very challenging. You learn, I guess you do learn, you're part of a team. And you have to work as a team. Everyone has to succeed or everyone fails. So the one big thing that you do learn is to depend on the other person. In the military, that could be your life. If the other person isn't doing their best and you're not doing your best, no one survives. You learn to be a team player more than ever. I guess that's some of the things you may be learning here, but the military is very strong on remembering that. I'm not sure how much you want to know about my Vietnam experience, but I don't want to bore you to death here. So. I served in the Army from 66 to 69, 67, 68, I was in Vietnam. I survived the Tet Offensive, which was for me the scariest part of my military duty in Vietnam. Up to that point, I was luckily in an area that wasn't that a place where we got attacked. The people around us kept getting attacked, but we never got attacked. And even during the Tet Offensive, the night before, January 30th, we were told we were going to be overrun. Our unit was about 300 men. We covered an area of about 4 football fields. And when you look around and somebody tells you we're going to be overrun, you say, I have no place to hide, no place to go. I didn't think I was going to be alive the next day on the 31st. Luckily, the Marines helped us out. They were fighting in a village behind us, and they kept the enemy away from us. So I get to watch the war and not so much participate in it. One scary day. But those folks that are thinking about the military, just go down and talk to one of the recruiters, or all the recruiters of all the services. Ask some real questions. They'll give you some good answers. And hopefully you'll find, if you go that route, a good place to go. Over time, the military is a good place to learn quite a bit, but it's a career that is not bad. The worst part is the wars that we have to keep getting involved in. But hopefully you'll bypass one of those. I hope I wasn't too boring with this. But as far as when you get to the civilian part of the job, again, it's the knowledge that you get is what's going to get you the better jobs. So don't skip the knowledge. Don't skip the training. Just keep studying. Read as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. And you'll do very well. I hope my babbling helped you out. Thank you.
Before we end this ceremony, I would like to welcome David Erickson, Ryan Warfold, Joe Farrell, Gabe Young for the folding of the American flag. I'd also like to welcome Samantha Davison to the podium to explain what the 13 folds mean.
The first fold symbolizes life and how precious it is. The second fold signifies our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made to honor and in tribute of the veteran departing our ranks and defending their country. The fourth fold symbolizes our weaker nature and reminds us that we are citizens trusting and searching for guidance in war and peace. The fifth fold is an acknowledgement and tribute to our country. The sixth fold is in honor of where our hearts lie as we pledge allegiance to the flag. The seventh fold is a tribute to the armed forces to protect our country. The eighth fold is in tribute to one who entered the valley of the shadow of death and to honor the mothers whom the flag flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is in honor of womanhood and their character that has helped make this country great. The 10th fold is a tribute to fathers who have given their life and sacrifice to our country. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal. The 12th fold represents the emblem of eternity. The last fold, when the flag is completely folded with only the stars exposed,
reminds us of our nation motto, "In God We Trust." Dedication, commitment, and honor are all traits these distinguished brave men and women have shown throughout their time in the armed forces. The community of Warren Tech would like to thank all veterans who are sitting behind us today for all their hard work and sacrifices they have made for us and our country. I highly encourage each and every one of you to take the time today to say thank you to the veterans as you see them walking throughout the hallways. I'd like to take a minute to dedicate this Veterans Day to my father, Sergeant Christopher Trembler. He has taught me how much this day truly means. He was the kind of guy that would give the shirt off his back to anybody in need. He couldn't be here today because he passed away 9 years ago, but I know he would have loved to be a part of it. Thank you for everyone for attending the ceremony, and lastly, I'd like to invite Mr. Wheatley up to say some last words.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the veterans sitting behind me for taking our invitation and coming here today. We really appreciate you guys. All right. I'd like to thank Riley and the Law and Public Safety juniors and seniors for putting this program together. I'd like to thank our administration, Mr. Forsythe, Mr. Tierney, Mr. Horn, for letting us have this celebration. Mr. Lilly, Master Sergeant Lilly, who was a chef in the Air Force, and as he is today, he's cooking for the veterans, as he did for his whole career. I'd like to thank Mrs. Suglin and her students for helping us put the videos and the cameras together, taking the pictures. I'd like to thank the police explorers. I'd like to thank Dave Gittens and the custodial staff for putting everything together for us today. This concludes our Veterans Day ceremony. Students, you can go back to period 2. Okay? Thank you very much.